Hey everybody, Max here, and today we're here to talk about BUDO. That's right, Kyle BUDO Gesso. This is a deluxe figure. I got this guy from, I think I ordered it through Hasbro Pulse, and had him for a little bit, and just kind of been playing around with him. He comes with a lot. This is definitely one of the best deluxe sets, I think, or deluxe figures that we've gotten. What you see here, everything, obviously it's one figure, but it comes with enough equipment to kit out three figures. So we'll let's and everything that you see here, all the accessories, everything is on these figures. I don't have anything off camera and everything. Everything is just displayed as you see here, and I'll explain what comes with as we break everything down. Usually start with the package, standard kind of dress that we get. Pretty cool artwork on the side. Nice little diorama shot set in Japan, I'm assuming. He's like a Special Forces samurai. And there is a lot of other reviewers talk about the attributes and stuff. And if you're into that, and I'm not into it, but you can pause the video and kind of check that out if you like. I don't really pay much attention to it. But he is 174 in the line. So we have nearly 175. I'm sure we are at 175 already, but he's a 174. So without much ado, we're going to get into BUDO, and I think I'll talk about this guy right here first, because obviously this is a Tiger Force Recondo figure, and this is the head that comes with. This is a second head. It comes with two head sculpts. Let me just say that. And I really like this guy quite a bit. I like this head sculpt. He just something about, now I'm assuming that I'm kind of stumbling a little bit here, but two head sculpts, but two different looks. And so this guy, long hair, kind of stringy. He's got some stubble. He's got the little goatee going and the mustache. And the shading in the eyes is different than the main figure. He just looks like he's got, he's been up for weeks, and he has zero flips to give. He looks like, I don't know, he's ready to mess up somebody's day, that's for sure. And I thought this kind of looked really well, or looked really well for if you have a spare Tiger Force Recondo figure floating around. This head fits on quite a few different figures. I've tried it on Night Force Shockwave, so you could have a Night Force BUDO. He's putting in a lot of long hours, he's working at night, he's not getting enough sleep, and he's just exhausted. So what is it, the Wolf Spider, he works on that figure as well. So the Parth Varma, whatever his name is, the Night Wolf Spider figure, that also, and it also works on the Action Soldier if you have that one. So there's a lot of figures that this head will fit on. So, and I'm kind of glad that we're finally getting some uniformity in terms of the ball pegs, so that we can start swapping out stuff. So I'm glad. This is a really cool head sculpt, and I think there's a lot of uses out of that you can get out of that. Now this rifle comes with the halo jumper. The arm guards here, this comes with BUDO. These are BUDOs, and I just thought they looked kind of cool. The skin tone is pretty good, matches fairly closely to the head sculpt to Tiger Force Recondo, so just kind of keep that in mind as well. So there's not much, it just works in my opinion. So pretty good arm guards here, red paint, this jewel, and then we got the kind of the plating here, the painted brown. And so you, of course, can take that off, take the hands off. And then he comes with this detachable odachi, or nodachi. I think it's pronounced odachi. And I just kind of ran it through the harness here, the holster for Tiger Force Recondo. And let me put him to the side right quick. Had an extra one of these and just decided, yeah, he looks really good. So we get this long sword, samurai longsword, the odachi, and it came out of the package a little warped. I've heated it up several times, and hopefully you probably can tell it's still got a little bit of warpage, and I just don't want to, right there at the hilt, I just don't want to damage it. I don't want to break it, because this is a new sword as far as I can recall. Haven't seen this, and then we have a new scabbard for it. And let's see, it's a little, yeah, it's not too bad. It's fairly solid. And then the rope here, it pegs in, so you can, if you have any trouble kind of getting it around things. So one thing about this set that, and I'll go into it, is that we're finally getting detachable parts. You know, like we're getting the plating, or the armor, the chest plating, the skirt plating, all that kind of stuff. You know, the armor and everything. I'll show it in a second, but it pegs in really well right there, and then slides in there. So you get a extra head sculpt, arm guards, odachi, longsword, samurai longsword. That is really cool. Let's see. Let's just go into the armor here, of the actual samurai armor. So this is very traditional. I did look it up, and I cannot remember all the names of all the different pieces of armor, but it is very accurate. I'm very pleased. They did a really good job with all of the sculpt work and the detail on the plating and the seams and the rivets and everything. So one thing it doesn't come with this figure is obviously not the main Budo figure. That is this guy. I used this is the second Night Force Falcon from the Falcon and Quarrel 2-pack, the Walmart exclusive. So I'm using that base body, which it works fairly well because I think that the torso is the same. They use the same torso for this guy. Now there's new legs for this guy, but it's not the same arms. It might not look the same, might not look as great as it would, say, this armor on the main figure. But I'll just explain as I go. So, but it fits very well. So he's a wide figure, and there's a lot of it's just, these are thick plastic pieces, and it just fits really well on that particular figure, in my opinion, at least as I have found. And as you probably can tell, I'm using the Falcon version 1 head as well to keep the helmet on. So yeah, the skirt, or the straw cape here, is very well designed. It's very well molded so that it fits in well with the chest armor, and it's very thick, but it's kind of, I mean, it's flexible up top, so you can get a little more movement and everything. So this sword is actually not the katana that comes with the figure. It comes with a wakizashi, the short sword, katana, and the odachi, and that's it. But there are 2 scabbards for a katana. So I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't use, this is not the katana that comes with the figure is not the one that we've seen a billion times, which is surprising to me that they redesigned the katana just for this figure instead of just giving us this one. But it will fit in the scabbard, but it is too long. So, but they put a hole at the end of the scabbard so that the standard katanas that we've been getting will fit. It just looks a little silly because what samurai would have that? But anyway, so wakizashi, short sword, pretty good. Now the hands that come with the figure are the same kind of standard hands that we've gotten for a lot of figures, and they don't always hold swords very well. So I'm really getting kind of tired of those same kind of fingerless glove, painted finger hands. I would rather have something that, if you're going to redesign something, because the hilt is actually, or the handle is actually a little bit thinner than the traditional or standard katana that we've been getting. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you might have to heat up the standard hands. So there's that. And then go ahead and get that out of the way. Here is the helmet. So no change there between the helmet, the mask, the little devil mask, or whatever it is. Forgive me for not remembering all of the parts. So here you have the crest. It's very flexible, so just be careful of that. I think I've seen some people try and like glue it down. So I guess that's something you could do. It's definitely flexible enough, but very well sculpted. You get this little like tiger logo in the front. I mean, for as small as it is, it's got some decent detail and really good silver paint all the way around. Or maybe it's just cast in silver. I don't know. No, it's probably silver paint because I don't see any pore lines. So, and then some red paint on the side with this diamond pattern on the side, and then red and silver for the mask, and just really good all the way around. And there's this little tassel on the back. I'm not sure what that represents. Those of you schooled in feudal Japan history, now I like samurais just as much as the next guy, but I can't say that I know every aspect of the history that goes along with these guys. But I've watched a lot of samurai movies. But this looks really cool. I like that helmet. And then you have the kind of straw cape that goes around. I don't recall seeing a name for this. It's interesting. I've never seen this before, so I'm not sure what the usage is for that, but it is very well molded and sculpted. And there also seems to be a bit of a wash in here to kind of accentuate the different strands. So that is fine and dandy. And then there's also this little neck guard here that also has a name that I can't remember, but there's a lot of attention to detail with regards to this particular armor. And this is all one piece, the chest section, and it actually pegs off. So what I have been hoping and praying for from Classified series action figures, and let me get Falcon's head off so we can get this guy off, get this little piece off, is like what we've been getting from Action Force from almost the get-go, as far as I recall. I don't have a lot of the Series 1 figures, but finally we get armor that pegs on and off, that you don't have to heat up the figure and take stuff off, because I had to heat up Falcon V2 here to get his armor off, and it took some doing. And the peg system is really good. It's not something I really have to fight. The mushroom pegs, and let me see if I can get a little more light for you so you can see that. And it's not too bad. I don't have to fight it as much as I've had to fight the Action Force tabs, and they've gotten better. Let me say that in later iterations, but some of those early plate carriers for Action Force, just a bit of a pain. So anyway, yeah, it's really cool. I'm glad that they're finally doing that. I hope that becomes kind of a standard thing. I know it probably won't, but hey, one can hope, right? So they'll probably charge us $2 extra just for that. But really good paint all the way around. Some silver, some browns, some reds, some greens, and it turned out really, really well. And it fits fairly well. And this is a bigger, like the arms, these are Outback's arms. This is really just Outback. And so bigger arms than the standard Budo figure that it comes with, which I think is the torso from Outback and the arms from the TELE-VIPER, if I'm not mistaken. But these are head to toe. This is a head to toe Outback, but it still fits fairly well over these big, thick arms. So very solid there. And then you have the skirt armor or waist armor, whatever you call it, and it pegs it off in the back. I still don't understand why, when they're giving us sword-wielding figures, particularly samurai style, and this is the actual samurai style, they keep making a lot of the ninja guys making them up like samurai when it's two different things. Samurais drew from the left, or they were right-handed draw, not left-handed draw, and the scabbards were like this. They were opposite. The curve was facing down, so more like that. So they're on the left side, and it was like that. So they would, if you've ever watched these samurai movies, they always like wick the blood off of the blade after they've been in battle, and then put it back in the scabbard like that. And I do not know what the reason is. If it's like they're designing it one way and then it just gets mirrored at the factory, I'm not quite sure how this is happening. I do wish this was pegged in. It is glued on, so you're kind of stuck with it right there. Is it bad? Not necessarily, but I think with the hilt facing, kind of curving up the way it does, even if it stayed on the right side, it needs to be reversed so that it's kind of angling away and down, kind of out from the figure, as opposed to here in this position. It kind of interrupts the movement of the arm. You kind of have to work around it, so just kind of keep that in mind. And particularly with that, most of our figures are right-handed, right? Well, early on they were all left, it seems, but most people hold their firearms in the right hand, and so now you have a modern warfare guy with machine gun with a sword in his way. So So I'm just curious as to why that is. So if anybody knows, let me know in the comment section. So yeah, we have skirt piece all the way around, some red. I do not care for, even though this might be authentic, I do not care for this is really thick plastic, a lot like the skirt on Storm Shadow version 2, and I cut all of that off just to give him a little more range of motion. So this red piece here it kind of obstructs a little bit, so I'm probably going to cut all of that out and then probably cut a line here to give it a little more range of motion. So if I want to, I mean, when he's just standing there, it's totally fine, and I probably won't use this much on the main figure, but I just want to give myself more options for flexibility. But on the whole, it looks great. Paint turned out really well. There's some green around the top of the scabbard, brown at the plates, and the skirt just looks really, really good, and it pegs fairly well as well. So yeah, so you have a lot of options with this guy. You also have a second pair of gauntlets, and these look more like, honestly, they kind of look like martial arts sparring gloves to me, but red paint, black plastic, looks like a little bit of a guard for the thumb, and it comes down over the back of the hand, and you have one on the right and the left. And those turned out really well. So there's a lot of design elements here. You can mix and match and swap things out. It's truly a deluxe set. I can see why my buddy Adam over on the Shark Eyes Toy View, he said this is like the best figure of the year, and I can see why you would make that determination. It comes with so much stuff, and I haven't even gotten into the actual figure yet. So, and then we have the shin guards that just kind of snap. Well, they don't really snap, because it's not rigid. This is pretty soft plastic. So I actually went and heated these up and tried to kind of mold it a little closer so that just to give it a little more tension when I put it on the leg. And part of the reason why I picked Outback or Falcon V2 is because of Outback's legs, because of the higher boots. And these just fit a little better because of the creases in the pant legs. Now you can use a grunt or a stalker or whatever you want to, but I felt like it just worked a bit better. But pretty good detail on a whole. For these shin guards, good paint. I mean, it's mainly black with just some brown paint, so I guess you're supposed to basically tie these. They're brown like cords, and you tie them, but just so you can pop them on and off. I think they should have had a little bit more rigid plastic because it's a little on the soft side, but it looks cool. Looks cool. And then you have the other one on the right leg. So yeah, so that is the base figure that I'm using to demonstrate the samurai, the ancient samurai component. So let's get all this out of the way so we can kind of break down the actual BUDO figure. And I like this configuration. I quite like the chest armor and kind of the modern, like if samurai existed in the modern era, this is probably what they would look like. And so I think that's really nice. But then here's the updated katana, which has a little bit of a warp to the handle, but it looks a lot like the standard one. It's a little thin, like I said. It holds it okay in the hand, but I'm not crazy about these hands. So I think we could, I'm going to have to play around and see what I can find from other figures, because I am just getting tired of these particular style hands. They just don't really hold weapons very well, and they're always kind of rigid, a little too rigid for my taste. So there's that. So we got the katana, and again, it's on the right side in the wrong position, wrong draw position, and it kind of gets in the way. That's what I was talking about. I feel like it might have been, this one at least needed to be glued a little bit more at an angle. Mine is angling a little too far up. Like, how in the world would you even draw this safely and effectively? So, but it's, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to cut it off or leave it, what have you. It makes more sense that the wakizashi, like I can see him using it more in terms of the short sword, more in like a modern military context as opposed to a full-blown katana. So I don't know. That's just my take on it. So he comes with the FAMAS that we have seen a bazillion times before, mainly with Dusty. And this one came warped out of the package, so I actually had to heat this guy up quite a bit. The bipod was really warped, so it's straightened out quite a bit now, the barrel and everything. So, and it's not flexible. I mean, it's not too flimsy or anything like that. It's got a little flexibility to it, and of course, it has its same drop down magazine or drop out magazine. It's a pretty cool weapon, and it fits fairly well in this guy's hand. So there we go. Let's see. Oh, he comes with pistol. And the reason he keeps falling over is because his ankles are a little loose. So, and this is a pistol we got with Helix, and nice looking, kind of standard thing. Looks like a laser or a light on the bottom. Not quite sure what this really represents in the real world, but it has a fun stick extended magazine that is way too thin and flexible, for my opinion. I have been thinking about just cutting it off right there so that it doesn't have this kind of flexy bit. But port for blast effects, just like the FAMAS does. So you got no blast effects come with it. And let's see, the holster, you can take that off. And let's see, let's take the helmet off here. It's a little bit of work to get this guy, to get the helmet off and on. Nice silver paint. So this looks more like the original figure. Little pouch on the back of the helmet, silver on the plating, chin strap with some modern warfare. So got some communication, got a radio microphone there, and it fits fairly well on the head, even with this kind of top knot. So I don't know if that's really military issue, but G.I. Joe is a specialized fighting force, right? Red on the band around the top knot, grayish hair because it's shaved and faded, and then black, pretty good sculpting there. A little bit of he looks like he's a little more alert than the other one, less facial hair, less dark around the eyes, but very, very good face sculpts. And let's see, you get this a new scarf that goes around. They didn't just reuse one of the range vipers. We got something new here, so that's new tooling as well. Just red plastic, no paint, maybe a little bit of a wash, you can't really tell, but really good folds all the way around, and it just fits on right there. And then come to this really cool, this is my favorite part of the whole figure, is this new vest, and has his name right there, Kyle Gesso. Nice paint on the diamond, some brown paint on the plates, and then the Japanese version of the G.I. Joe logo. Very cool. Just some black on the back, and then some brown paint and green paint on here, and it pegs off as well. And if I can find it. Well, before I peg it off, let's talk about the articulation. How much does it hinder? Not really. So you can get a pretty good T-pose. Like I said, this is probably the arms from the TELE-VIPER. And he can go all the way around, so there's some good flexibility in the shoulder armor. It's not attached to anything other than the vest itself. Having a little trouble with the right arm, but there we go. So you can get good range of motion even with this thing on, and like I said, I quite like it. And where is there's two places, yeah, underneath the armpits. Where is it? Oh, right there in the front. Okay. And it comes right off, so hallelujah for that. Finally got some vests that peg off that we don't have to fight. So yeah, a little close-up shot, radio there. Guess that's an antenna, perhaps. Some molded in magazines with some brown paint. And they actually went to the trouble of painting around the magazines, keeping it black. So, and some pouches on the side to hide the plugs, mushroom plugs. And kind of needs to be thicker there, so they molded in some thicker areas. So yeah, turned out really well there. And same way with the waist armor. Where is it? Oh, this side. Comes off just fine. Stay still, my friend. And we've got some pouches, sword sheath, plating, brown paint. Only a little brown paint right there in the front, but it's a little loose. It's not quite as tight, I think. You know, it's just gonna. You might have to like kind of maybe use some handy tack to force it down, keep it in place if that frustrates you, because it does me a little bit. And then that just goes right back on. Pardon me while I dress my dolls. And trying to demonstrate for you what it does, how to do it while on camera. I'm doing the best I can. Hang in there, guys. Hang in there with me. There we go. I think I got both plugs. And let's just show you what I want to throw there we go. What he looks like. I'll kit it out that way. And then we get down to the so I just put the thing back on. I mean, it has it's you know, it's the same torso as Outback, so he has a ab crunch, and side to side's pretty good. Bicep swivel, butterfly joint is really good. Range of motion in the head is pretty good when you don't have anything obstructing it. You get better, you know, he looks up better with the short-haired version, but just wanted to show you what he looks like with the long-haired version on. The pinless joints, the elbows, yeehaw. Okay. And same stuff that we've seen with the wrists, right? Same wrists. And then we get down to the legs, and these are new legs, and they're a little bit longer than your standard figure. And so he stands a little bit taller than a standard figure. So I'm wondering if that was just because they wanted to have more space for the shin guard, so it wouldn't cover the entire knee joint. So that's what they look like here. I initially thought from the promo images that his legs looked a little skinny, but I didn't think they were new, but it turns out they are. So I'm wondering when and where we'll see these legs again. But like I said, the splits are pretty good. Drop down hips like we're used to. He's got pretty good range of motion, 90 degrees. And then let's break that knee up a little bit. Kicks back that far. And we have standard thigh swivel and a shin swivel as well. I do like these new shin guards, so in the new boots, so that'll be interesting to see where these turn up again. And I think these are new knee pads, so yeah, I think everything about these legs is brand new. So there's a lot of new here. The only thing that I can tell that's reuse is the arms and the torso, and probably the neck joint to some degree, and then some of the weapons, of course. But we get a lot of new with this guy, so I can see why people would think this is a really solid figure and one of the best of the year. Oh, I didn't do the feet because I told you that was kind of annoying me. So he kicks down or points down that far, goes up about that far. But right here in the neutral pose, there's just this little wobble. And a lot of figures have that, and it just kind of messes up. It just can cause, you know, the weight. You just got to get the weight distribution right. Otherwise, it's just going to fall forward like what you're seeing. So I'm always having to, you know, and I think even if I use the stand, it's still going to have that problem. So I'm going to be squirting a little Mod Podge into the little joint right there to kind of firm it up some and see if that improves things. So yeah, that is BUDO. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Did you pick this guy up? Are you as happy with him as I am? I think I'm going to give this guy a warp factor of 9.5. Very solid, excuse me, very solid figure. Comes with a lot. I feel like they didn't skimp, and they gave us just a lot of options here. So I'm very happy for all to have options. It's great to have, oh, wrong head sculpt. It's great to have options. So, and then there is kind of standard Budo on Tiger Force Outback or Tiger Force Recondo. So yeah, and then you have a samurai. So, and I know some people probably might pick up 2 or 3 of these and army build some samurais. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section. Warp factor of 9.5, very solid, very pleased, even though I'm still having some trouble getting these guys to stand. Thank you for your patience. All right, Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Thanks for watching, hanging around this long for this deluxe figure as I went over everything. I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Continue to be awesome.